So driving down the road, headed about an hour from home. Camera stationary, don't freak out on me, I ain't paying no attention. Headed about an hour down the road, and we're going to see if we can't fire up this old Cadillac that you've seen us bring from Ohio back to South Carolina. I don't know, I guess it's been about a month now, maybe. Yeah, let's see if we can get it fired up. So y'all hang in there. Hopefully it's a short video, because hopefully it just starts right up.
I'd say it's a nut job.
Okay, full disclaimer so everybody knows, I actually didn't even think about filming starting this thing up. I came over here about a week back, and we just looked over everything that we thought we'd need to see what it would take to get it running. Made kind of a game plan, and we also realized that the carburetor on it was just completely trashed, just gummed up, and we could have rebuilt it, but at the end of the day, a rebuild kit and the time, you know, it was just easier for us to reach out to our friends at Riley's Rebuilds and get a carburetor on the way. So that's what we done. It's actually laying over here in the passenger seat, making the trip with me, and we're gonna take it down here, slap it on the old Caddy, and prime it with some fuel, give her a couple of little pumps, and kinda hoping it just pops right off and runs. And if it does, it'll be kind of a short, boring video, but it'd be nice to see the old car run a little bit. I think that's kind of a bad omen right there, ain't it? Passing Elm Street. Hope this doesn't turn into a nightmare.
Let me see that long extension.
Okay, 3/8.
Let's see if that'll do it.
New carburetor from Raleigh Rebuilds. Oh, rebuilt carburetor. Okay, from this point on out, the audio and the video is going to be a little weird. Basic gist of it is, I set my phone down on a rack there and not really thinking about it, and the sound, I kind of halfway covered up the mic on the phone. It wasn't really paying attention, I guess, and that's 100% my fault. So the sound kind of comes and goes, not like goes away, but it gets muffled, and then it'll go back to normal sound, unfortunately. But I was able to rob some cell phone footage from his video of it and kind of fill in those gaps so you can hear the car run. So hang in there. You are, I guess, spoiler alert, you are gonna get to hear the car run. So is the cable just spinning on it, or?
Well, right now, yeah, it looks like it's corroded. Okay. I think I should spray some shit on it.
That may be what's causing the whole issue, is the connection there, because the way it was smoking a while ago, I'd say it's a bad connection or a burn up starter.
I just got to figure out, I got to get an extension long enough to where I got to put some of this on. I heard it. Probably not. On the,
No, all that stuff burns real good. It won't hurt at all. Swap the coil, new point, replace carburetor. At this point, the motor's not spinning fast enough. It's the male version. This is gigawatt.
it's not gigolo, it's a gigawatt.
Oh, not the gigolos, the gigawatts.
Gigawatts. If it keeps going, we're going to have to gather around the starter to keep ourselves warm. Well, get as close to the starter.
I'm gonna get that propane. I'm gonna get that propane tank.
I wonder if the local parts stores carry a starter for that.
Should we call? Hey.
Well, you at least know what it. You at least know if they offer one, or if it's like, yeah, you're pretty much going to take that one off and rebuild it in your backyard, there, boss.
This guy's gonna be like, what year's your car? 64 Cadillac. Oh, hell, we got one back in there full of dust. Let's see. All right.
Dust adds horsepower.
Once this turned over, if it was actually pumping, you gotta get this something in that crusty pump, filter right there.
I think that pump should bad. Because you'd think that it would put some fuel in it. Because if it's got fuel, yeah, that's what I need. Because I don't know the other one. She'll blame it on her tint. Watch. She tinted the.
Blame it on what?
Her tint. Not those. Oh. I know what you thought. I know what you thought.
Oh, how's that? How's that affect looking backwards?
No, I didn't think you put an N in there. For what?
Hey, how does that work?
Did she boom and it get in the mirror? Just one hit. Just one hit. I just want to hear it go. He brought all his go-go juice and we used it all. All the go-go juice.
Yeah! Woo! Yes!
The fuel pump does work, and that filter leaks like a son bitch.
But hey, it worked. Hey,
Hey,
yes! All right.
All right, God. I'm not gonna cry. Oh, you know, hey. Well, when I was looking down there, I'm like, where are we spraying? And you're like, yep, that fuel pump works. Yes, it does run. It runs. Not running very well right now, but it does run.
Hey, it started. Yes. It doesn't matter. It started. Yes. It rattled my butt. Woo! It started. Hey, don't pick on my jet. It's good. It started. That's all I care about.
Okay, so the car starts and the car runs. The car needs some stuff, but it is alive. It is alive, and it is a running car. The timing is off. Didn't have my timing light with me, and we were just trying to get it to start. We got it to start. No fuel system hooked up to it, just running on the fuel that was in the bowls. So really couldn't run it long enough to put a timing light or anything on it to try to set the timing. That's going to come later. The starter on that car is absolutely smoked. We were basically getting a handful of turns out of the motor, and then the starter would just barely turn. We'd have to let it sit and let the starter cool off and start over. So it ended up taking us about 2 hours to get the car to start, just because we was only getting a few turns at a time out of the engine. So a few things that he still has to do on the car. He still needs to get a fuel system. The tank in it has some damage to it. I don't remember what the story was. I think he said, you know what? I don't know what the story is, but there's an issue with the tank. So the fuel pump obviously works, because it was trying to pull some of that old fuel from the tank up there while it was running. So he's got a few things to do. He's got to pick up a fuel tank somewhere. He's got to get a starter for it, or get that starter rebuilt. One of the two, because it's definitely a fan of classic rock, and it's knocking on heaven's door. So need to do something about that. The fuel filter leaks on it. You know, there's little tiny things. The timing needs set, fuel filter leaks a little, needs a tank, needs a starter. Other than that, the only thing we've got to do to it is it's got some kind of weird spacer plate under the carburetor, and it doesn't need it now with this carburetor. It was a spacer plate with a vacuum port in it, and it just doesn't need it now. The carburetor has a vacuum port in it now, but we couldn't get it off, and the gasket on the top of it was more like a metal shim than a gasket. So just threw a gasket on it, put the new carburetor on it, and fired it up. I'm pretty sure there's a vacuum leak under the base of the carburetor, but all these are little minor things. No big deal. The big deal for him was he's actually never heard that car run. So the big deal for him was to get that car fired up and running. And it fired up. From under the hood side, the engine's quiet. No ticks, no lifter ticks, no rattles, no knocks, no nothing. It just purrs. The exhaust, you could hear the exhaust with some let's call it some sounds, but if you look under it and look at all the mouse houses it blowed out of the exhaust, that's probably rat skulls bouncing around in the tailpipes, and it's perfectly fine. It'll actually fossilize those, and then we'll sell them as baby T-Rex skulls later on the internet. Find that on our eBay store. No, just joking. But yeah, the car's coming along, and hopefully you enjoy it. Hey, if you happen to have a starter or a gas tank for a 64 Cadillac Coupe Deville, let me know. Also want to give a big thank you to Riley's Rebuilds for the awesome carburetor. If y'all, I know some of y'all have looked her up, and you know that they rebuild carburetors of many varieties, not just Elderbrock's, but they rebuild carburetors of many varieties. But they also, from time to time, have some used ones that they have rebuilt that they will sell, and that's what we ended up doing. We ended up purchasing one of their rebuilt used carburetors, and worked phenomenal. Car fired right up once we actually got it to spin a little bit. I appreciate y'all watching. If you have not, hit that like, subscribe, comment, share, do all those things. That helps pay the bills around here. Yeah, if you have any 64 Cadillac Coupe Deville parts laying around, give me a shout out. I know he appreciate it. Until then, hope y'all enjoyed. Hope the Lord blesses you more today than he did yesterday. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll see you on the next.
I'd say he's a nut job.